I'm sure many of you are tired of seeing this. A perfect trade setup that meets every condition you have, and then, yeah. So instead of changing random settings and altering lines or entry points, you need to start using this primary indicator I'm going to show you in the video. Without wasting any of your time, let's get straight into TradingView. I'm on the forex pair Euro USD because despite what others may tell you, it's essentially irrelevant what forex pair, commodity or crypto you're trading on. As long as it's not some random crypto made 72 hours ago by a Reddit user living in their parents' basement, it's going to work just fine. Now I'm using the 5-minute time frame because that is my favorite chart to trade on. It's not moving too fast where I can't get up out of my seat or I miss an exit, and it's not too slow, I'm entering one trade per month. You can literally use any time frame you want, the only thing that needs to be changed is settings in your indicators to match up with your given time frame. Alright, time for this indicator I promised you at the start of this video, so head up to your indicators tab and search for Polynomial Regression. Now please, if there's any part of this video you actually listen to, make it this. Select the indicator by Donovan Wall, which includes bands and channel lines. Alright, now once it's on your chart, a few of you may recognize how similar it looks to the linear regression channel. And that's no coincidence because it is exactly the same, just without the linear part. Alright, so you can see both indicators here. The linear regression indicator is interesting because it's not necessarily using the trading data on your screen at that moment. It's actually using historical trading data that has followed the current pattern, and it uses its algorithm to predict the upper and lower bands of the price action. Now, our polynomial regression indicator is the exact same, except it's not linear, hence the random wiggly lines that absolutely wreck my OCD. However, don't call it useless just yet, as we're about to find out why I'm using the polynomial and not the linear indicator. So how are we actually going to be reading this indicator? Well, hopefully you will know that the red indicates a lowering price and green an increasing price. Also, on our polynomial regression indicator, the line's distance apart is very important. The further away from each other they are, the higher the volatility, and the opposite is true for the closer they are. Now, there's a million ways you could use this indicator for your entries, and they will all work eventually. However, you are not here for guessing, so here's how we're going to do it. First, we need to change some settings by double-clicking on the polynomial regression indicator. Then in the style section, uncheck the first option, as it is very unhelpful for what we're trying to do. Then in the input section, change the data smoothing period from 10 to 100 and then uncheck the following options. Okay, now as you can see, the indicator is way smoother. Alright, so it wouldn't be a trading strategy if I didn't make you guys add another indicator. I promise this is actually useful and I'm not just making you add it for no reason. So click on the indicators tab and search for volume oscillator. This indicator is amazing at filtering out bad trades, just like the ones you keep taking. Alright, so it is now time for the conditions of entry. First, for long entries, we need the price action to break up above the upper bound while the middle line and the candlesticks are both green. Then we need it to pull back under the upper band and then finish its breakout by crossing and closing back above the upper band. Now listen to this next part very carefully, as it is probably why you keep taking losing trades. During all of this, the bars must stay green. Even if one is red, you cannot take the trade. Okay, so that's it for our first indicator. Now for our final trade confirmation, we need the volume oscillator to be pointing upwards and above the zero level. So with all these conditions met, you guessed it, we're going to enter a long trade. Now placing a buy order on the close of the trigger candlestick, and the stop loss will be set at the recent swing low. For the take profit, we're going to be safe but boring, actually really boring, and place it at 1.5 times the risk. Now clearly I'm joking about it being boring. When trading there should be zero emotion. Alright, so that trade was successful. Now let's check out another example. We see here the upper and middle lines of our indicator are green, and the price action then pulls up above the upper band and comes back down. Finally, the price action breaks out above the upper band for the last time, and whilst this is all happening, our candlestick stayed green. Now looking at our confirmation indicator, it is indeed pointing upwards and above the zero level. So now we can enter a trade here following the entry rules. Alright, time for short trades. So believe it or not, short trades are almost the exact opposite. First, we need the price action to pull back into the lower band, then dip back out. The lower and middle lines must be red whilst this is happening. Then the price action needs to come into the lower band for the second time, right before its second breakout. Again, whilst all of this is happening, the candlesticks must stay red, along with the middle and lower bands. Alright, for our final confirmation, we need the volume oscillator to be above the zero level. So with all these conditions met, we can enter a trade. Alright, here's one last short example. You can see the price action pulled into the lower bands before pulling back out. It then created a pullback for the second time, followed by its breakout. The bars on both our lines stayed red the entire time, so now all we need is our confirmation. And looking at the volume oscillator, it is above the 0 level, so we can enter a trade here. Alright guys, that is it for the rules of this strategy. I hope it wasn't too complex and you managed to follow along. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could give a thumbs up, as it helps the channel out a lot. While you're at it, check out some of these videos on your screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.